In my video today, I will be doing a speed comparison between the Brave browser and Librewolf. It will be a loading speed test in which I will record the time it takes for each browser to load a web page. I will use an extension to help note down the time it takes for the entire content to render. Then I'm going to perform a benchmark as well. Without any further delay, let's get into the testing. Firstly, let's begin with the Brave browser. This is a fresh install of Brave without any changes made to it. I did not add any additional extensions, nor did I change any settings. The first site I will go to will be hackernews.com. I chose this site because it's purely plain text with no media, either images or videos. I also believe it does not have any advertisements. As you can see here, Brave loads the page in just 2.18 seconds. Next, I will go to Brave Search. I would assume the Brave people have optimized their own search engine for their browser. It loaded pretty quickly, and as we can see here, it took only 2.3 seconds to load completely. This page is also not very intensive, slightly more than the Hacker News site, but not much more. The site I will go to next will be the Proton Mail page. Here we can see Brave loads the page in 2.25 seconds. This is pretty fast, seeing how the page has a lot of images and visual effects. I'll now proceed to the relatively more demanding sites. First, I'll load a popular online search info page in Korea. This website has a lot of images, icons and marquee effects. Now we start to see that it's taking more time for the browser to load. We can see it took Brave 3.98 seconds to load it entirely. The subsequent site we will visit will be much more onerous to render. Starting off, we have the British Broadcasting site. These news sites tend to have a ton of ads as well as media and pop-ups. We are now beginning to see longer load times. It took Brave 6.64 seconds to load the web page in its entirety. As I can see here, it also blocked all the adverts. An even more demanding site would be Reuters. Let's see how well Brave blocks them and how fast it can load all the components. This is the longest time yet with 7.25 seconds. It's quite understandable, and I'd like to see how Librewolf fares here as well. Next, let's go to YouTube. YouTube is a page we all visit quite often in a day, so the speed with which it loads is quite important. We can see here that it took 7.85 seconds. This is a very long time relative to the other sites. Loading YouTube in a fresh browser initially will take a comparatively substantial time, but you can expect much less time as you progressively use your browser to visit YouTube. If I have to say so myself, the speed at how Brave loads the pages feels quite swift. Moving on to Librewolf next. Like Brave, this is a fresh install of Librewolf. I've not added any extra extensions other than the page load counter, and all the settings have been left at default. Let's go to Hacker News first. It takes Librewolf 2.67 seconds. This is slightly more time than Brave. Surprisingly though, it takes 4.5 seconds for Librewolf to load the Brave search. Most likely, this is due to the optimizations the Brave team has made to their own browser and site. But nonetheless, this is quite substantial. In fact, it took twice as much time to load as compared to Brave. Again, when loading Proton Mail, Librewolf lags behind Brave ever so slightly, with Librewolf taking 2.5 seconds. But that changes when we go to the shopping site. Here we see a faster loading time with Librewolf, taking only 3.7 seconds to render completely. The news sites follow suit, with the British Broadcasting channel taking only 5.7 seconds. This is a huge deficit compared to the 6.4 seconds it took Brave to load. For Reuters, we find the largest gap with Librewolf taking only 5.5 seconds compared to Brave's 7.25 seconds. I suspect that this may be due to the ads and perhaps how uBlock is much better at dealing with them. Now let's move on to YouTube. Here, likewise, we see that Librewolf has the edge. In all fairness, I did run the test 4 more times, making it n equals 5 for a total of 5 readings. I then took the average of the readings and the results are as follows. For Hacker News, Brave took an average of 2.3 seconds. For the Brave search, Brave took only an average of 2.2 seconds, and Librewolf with a much longer 4.1 seconds. Protomail follows the same pattern though not as drastic, with Brave taking lesser time at 2.3 seconds. The story changes though when we move on to the last 3 sites. Librewolf took less time in all of them, taking only 3.7 on average to load Naver compared to Brave's average of 3.8, and only 5.8 and 5.6 seconds for the 2 new sites respectively. Similarly, we see that it takes Librewolf 6 seconds to load YouTube compared to Brave's average of 7.5. Finally, let's move on to the benchmarking. I will be using Speedometer 3.0. It's open source and decisions for its development is being made under a multi-stakeholder governance model, shared between the 3 widely distributed web browser engine projects. This benchmark will test browser responsiveness by timing pseudo-user interactions and measuring them. Running it for the first time on Brave, it gets a score of 4.14. And consequently running it on Librewolf, we get a slightly higher score of 4.17. In this case, the larger value means a better score. I ran the test again for a total of 5 times and I then took the average. The results showed that in the benchmark, Brave scored an average of 4.5, whilst Librewolf scored an average of 4.1. It seems that in the benchmarking, Brave wins by a considerable margin. To recapitulate, here are the results. In 3 websites that have lighter workloads, Brave leads with a sizable difference in its own in-house search engine. This flips when we go to sites that are considerably more intensive. Here, Librewolf delivers faster loading times with a distinct gap. When we go to the benchmarks though, we see that Brave edges ahead. All in all, I found that both browsers were really quick and responsive. I've personally always had trouble differentiating which browser is faster. I'm glad I can finally quantify speed into these numbers. Though Brave definitively leads in benchmarking, when it comes to day-to-day usage, the results seem to sway towards Librewolf. If you guys don't agree with my conclusion, please leave your thoughts in the comments. Anyway, that brings me to the end of my video. If you enjoyed the content, please do subscribe and leave a like. Thank you for watching and see you in the next one.